Hello everyone, welcome to RedDragon Model Works. Hope your weekend was well. We had a pretty good weekend here, visited with some family and hung out with the brothers here at the Styrene Syndicate. Mike, Hobby Man Mike, his brother right here. He hosted a couple of hangouts over the weekend. So if you don't see me doing them, you can always go here. Hobby Man Mike right here and subscribe to the brother. And that way when he puts up the link for the videos or the hangouts, you guys will be able to join. This is going to be part 2 in my basic airbrush maintenance series. Last week I put up one. The link is right here also. Basically just like an introduction on how to keep your airbrush clean. I also discussed the workings of an internal mix airbrush. But I got a question from brother right here, a Illini guy right here. And when I spoke about an external airbrush, and I saw his point in that there are differences in the workings of an internal versus an external airbrush. So I'm going to address that real quickly today. I'm also going to show you guys 2 ways to troubleshoot your airbrush. One being the bubbling in the cup, and the other being the valve sticking. So if you stick around, my friends, let me get this camera over here situated, and I'll be right back. Okay, gentlemen. In the previous video, I discussed an internal mixed airbrush. And I got a couple of questions about discussing the external mixed airbrush. Because I was discussing, and I took for granted that this is what you all would understand that I was talking about. I had a couple of questions about the external mix airbrush, and that not all airbrushes are created equal. Now, I believe I said that, but I want to get into this for a second here, guys. An internal airbrush, you have the air that comes up through your air valve. Up underneath here, if you can see, there's a little chamber. That's why your airbrush has these. Some do, some don't. Some come right up through the actual barrel of the airbrush. But on an Iwata, it comes up like right alongside the bottom of here. So what happens is your air comes up through here, through this little nozzle, comes up, and it exits right about here. Right about here. That's an internal mix airbrush. With a gravity feed or with a siphon feed, if it's an internal mix airbrush, your paint will either come down or up through siphon, come down into here. Your needle, that seal, this seal right here, prevents the paint from coming back, comes up about here, and right in this area, there's 2 little nozzles, little bitty holes, micro holes, right about here. When you press down, that's where your air comes out. When you press down and pull back and engage your needle, it slides back because of the seal. It'll slide back, and that right there will engage the paint, will allow paint to come through. It engages right up in here. It mixes here and out through the front. That's your internal fed airbrush. External fed. With an external fed airbrush, this is a single action, that's a double action. When you press down, air comes up, comes through. It's the minute you press down here, all your mechanisms are right in here. So once you press down on that, you're engaging air and the suction, and paint will come in and it will mix out here at the very tip. There's no internal here. It's all external, which is here. The difference between an external and an internal airbrush, by looking at this, you'd think there'd be no difference if you didn't know any better. But this is the difference. There is no needle. So there's nothing to engage to move back and forth. Everything is right inside there. And that's why that piece has been soldered shut, because everything is in here. So once you press down, you are engaging the air and the paint mixture, the air and the suction up to draw the paint out and it atomizes at the tip of the airbrush. How you control your, how you control how much paint you want or the width of the line is right here on a Posh at least. It'd be right here. It comes with different nozzles, this cap that goes over it, and this is how you engage it right here. And it'll come out, if I can get that right there. If you see that little tip there, that's right at the end there is where your air and your paint will mix and atomize. Very, very good airbrush. It's still used today in the movie industry and sci-fi, modelers, terrain modelers, because this airbrush here is 30 years old, and I've never had to work, send it in for anything. This airbrush is phenomenal, and it works for what it is. I know people that make movie masks and stuff, and this is what they use. Now, of course, they use a gravity feed nowadays to get in there for finer detail, but I know old school folks that use this thing and love it. Very easy to clean because down there you have a Allen key, a little Allen screw there. You loosen that. This piece here slides right out. You can drop both of those pieces in some solvent, clean it, boom, 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 it's done. That's it. It's done. So, you can find these for $30. You can find them for $80, whatever. This one, I've had it for so long that I forgot what I paid for it at the time. But I have another one, brand new, that's still in this little case that I bought from my grandson. And I think I paid $60, somewhere around there for it. I don't remember exactly. But it's put away for him. That's what he uses. He grabbed, my grandson will be 4 years old, and this is what he's learning to use as an airbrush. He'll hold it like this. He'll take his little Hot Wheels and with water. Loves it. So that's the difference, guys, between an internal and an external mix. Internal has a needle, has all this back here. This does not. It's all inside here. Internal, everything will atomize. The paint and the air combine right here to atomize paint or air, and paint atomize right here to shoot out through the nozzle versus right at the tip here outside of the airbrush. And that's how this is. So I just wanted to clarify that. These are good for terrain, for big pieces, for base coats, for clear coats, you name it. That's what this is for. So that's what I wanted to clear up. So I hope that clears that up, guys. Now, the other thing I wanted to get into is there's two things. The first being sticky triggers. Now, as you can notice, I'm pushing down on that, and it's sticky versus the give I get on that versus this. You see, it doesn't pop back right away as quickly versus this. Boop, it's there right away, instant. This has got a little problem. I got this airbrush from Fernando Duarte. You can check him out. Oh, where am I at? Right there. That's the link to his webpage or his YouTube page. And I had to change it was missing a nozzle because the brother, he was cleaning it. And with the Iwatas, you got to be careful. It's like the Badger Chrome. They have that tiny little nozzle, and if you're not careful, you sneeze, you lose that nozzle, you'll never find it. But I also told him that there was a problem with that air valve, and he didn't know why. So it's in my hands now, so we're going to try to find out what's wrong with this. Now, there's a quick way to clean these, and I'll show you. This is how you clean it. You remove, if you've got one of these, universal quick connectors on there, you remove that. Remove the rear end of the airbrush. Always pull the nozzle, or the needle rather, I'm sorry. Pull the trigger. Well, let me loosen this, sorry. I take that off. Remove the rear end, the internals out of here. You want to get the spring guide and the needle spring and all that out. So that's this piece here. And then there's the trigger. Put that all off to the side. Now, if you look closely inside there, I don't know if that's showing, but there is, right there. See it? That's the piston. That's what moves everything up and down, the air piston. So I need to get that out. So what you want to do is, oh, sorry about that. You want to remove your air valve. That's your air valve. Take the back end of your needle, put it right there, and then just a little push And there's your piston right there. So let's get that off to the side. So now I want to clean that piston because it's sticking. So for this, I'm going to use some isopropyl alcohol. You don't have to, but that's what I'm going to use. So I'll put a little iso in here. You can use thinner. You can use lacquer thinner. You can use Jesus juice. You can use whatever you want. Again, this is homemade airbrush cleaner. Link is right there. Right there. That's how you can make this, guys. It's cheap. It's easy, you know. But use whatever you got. I mean, it's up to you. So I'll take that. I'll drop it in the ISO. Let it sit in there a little bit. Now I want to look, and let me see if I can get this down a little lower. I want to look and see, because inside here, there is a seal. You see that? That seal right there? Now I'm looking to see if there's anything wrong with that seal, and from what I see, it looks good to me. Oh, sorry about that. Now I may have to remove and let me get that light in there. I may have to change that seal, but no, it doesn't look that bad. So what I'm going to do now is take one of these, get a little ISO on it, and then run it in there. Yeah, I don't see anything coming off. Now, what usually happens, guys, is people put a drop of lube in there, and it starts gumming everything up in there. So you want to make sure that that's free of any solvents. So now that we've done that, I have this guy right here, which is my toolkit. Now in here, this is an expensive toolkit, guys. If you don't need it, if you got airbrushes and you want to work on your own, this would be a great. It's about $80. It comes with a needle wrench. I have two of them, but it comes with a needle wrench. It comes with this wrench here for your valves. It comes with two tools to remove seals. This is just a little container to put a spare needle in, and then it's got this piece right here. So I need this. Do I? No, I don't need. Yeah, I'm going to have to use that. And I need this wrench right here. So let me get my glasses. So now what I want to do is, now that I've got that, oh, I'm sorry, I needed the pipe cleaner. So I got a pipe cleaner here. So now what I want to do is, I want to wet that pipe cleaner a little bit. And then I want to run that through there. Up and down, just like that. And from what I see, I don't see any problem there. I don't see any gunk. But then again, you're not going to see that if there's too much oil on that. Yeah, there's oil on it. I can see it right there. It's coming off. So I need a Q-tip. So what did I do with all my Q-tips? There. So now I'm going to get a Q-tip real quick. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to, a couple of these guys. And, sorry about that. I'm going to take that, a little bit of that, and the same thing. Just get it in there. And I can see right now, there's some gunk on the end of that. And believe it or not, that little bit of gunk, you see it? Right there. That little bit of gunk could be the reason why this whole thing is sticking. Let's see if I can take a little bit of this off. Make it a little. Put a little bit on this end, get it in through here, and then do the same thing on this side. Oh yeah, look at that, guys. See that? That's all. That could be making that trigger stick. So you want to do that. You want to clean it up real good. Right there. Now that we got that clean, I'm going to go focus on this guy right here. It's your trigger, your air valve. So you have this tool here. And what you want to do is you want to get that. it positions. Come on. Focus, darn you. That 2 prongs will focus right inside there, or seat right inside there. And then I start to turn it. Simple as that. It's this side. Okay, now let's take that little piece off right there. You don't want to lose that. Be careful, guys. You see that little piece? That's how tiny that thing is. And then this comes out right there. Now I want to clean inside there. I want to look at the piston. And same thing, drop it in there. So I'm going to take this guy again. Well, now let's use this. Still wet. And I'm going to run that through there. Just like that. And then take my Q-tip, get it inside there. Look how filthy that is in there. Now, you shouldn't have anything like that inside here. What happens is paint has gotten back in here and it's gotten down inside that valve and it's starting to sit up right in here. And because this has not been taken out to be cleaned, you know, once you pull all that and you oil that needle and put a little drop there, it just keeps, the little oil just keeps sitting in there over and over and over again. And you know, it's going to start gunking everything up. You see that? So, all right, now we got that. Now let's, where did I do with my, excuse me guys. I had another, oh, there they are. So now let's take this guy out and we're going to clean him up same way. Look at that right there. Clean the valve. Wipe that down. And I'm using alcohol because that will burn off right away. It'll dry out. So we do that. Now we got that done. Okay. So there's that. Now let's put it all back together, guys. So we're going to do this. Make sure that when you stick that back in there, that you have it in there right. That seal, it's got to be facing. Come on, guy. Let's get that in there. Has to be facing the right way, guys. So if not, you're in for a lot of trouble. All right. Put that right in there. And then this piece will sit just like so. Get that in the hole there. Oops, sorry about that. Get that in there. See how it, come on. It's not going all the way in. All right. I had it wrong. That's why. This piece drops in. See that? Goes right there. Now, my bad. See that piece right there with the seal? That goes in first. So that drops right in there. And there it is. You put your spring right over the top. And if you have one of these, now I used to use this to tighten them back and forth, but it would be preferable, guys. And I've lost many of these to have one of these. Let me put my glasses on. Because what you do with that is you just sit that right inside there like so. You take this and then you just tighten it. Like that. Now I want to check it. And it's too tight. So now I will loosen it. Just a hair. I want to make sure that that moves up and down. See that? Now I'm not going to add any oil to that, guys. On the inside. What I'm going to do is just put a little drop down here at the bottom. And I'm going to let that seat in there. Because that's all I need. Once I put this together, the air is going to suck that right in there. I'll put a little bit like right on top of here. Use my needle to move it, wrong way, to move it up and down. And that's all the oil I'm going to put on there. You put too much oil on that, you end up gunking everything up. Now this piece, I got that off. I want to dry that. What did I do with that piece of paper? So I'll take a little piece. I'll dry this. And I'm not going to oil that. Where I'm going to add the oil is right here on the seal. Just a little bit. Just a very little. Right there. Just a little drop. Take this. You got to be careful because you got to make sure that that sits right in there. Drop it. Up. Get that piston in there. And there it is. It's just seated. I don't know if you can see inside there. Where's the light? See it? Just seated right in there. If you look back there, you'll see the piston. Take this. Tighten everything back up. But before you do that, see on this here, I talk about the beeswax. You don't really need it here because you have that seal there, but I do it anyway. So I'll just take with the back of my needle just a little bit. I put it right there on the thread. Take my finger and just roll it through there, just like that. Do this. Now let's get everything back together. Before I do that, I'm going to go here and check that. Now that's moving beautifully, up and down, no problem. Now let's get it all back together. I'm going to drop this piece in. Well, let's get this here. Get that in there real quick and just, well, Jesus. See this trigger here, I'm going to have to order a taller trigger. I don't like these right here. I like the ones that sit. There are some of these triggers that you can buy if you have an Iwata that has the piston already attached to it and it's a little longer. That's what I like. I don't like these because you have you tend to end up with trouble with them. I like the old style ones with the piston already on them. So there are inside there, let's see if I can get that right. You see that on the side of the wall right here, you'll see some grooves right there. Same thing here. See those two? Now you got to make sure that this trigger seats in there. And there it is. See that? So then you take your needle spring guide. Let's get that in there. I'm going to run that all the way in. Put the needle chuck guide on there. Take my needle. Hold down on the trigger and just push this through until that stops. That's it. Don't force it in there. Now here's where I'll adjust my tension. Now watch. See that pop now? There's no stick. So we'll put it all together. I'm going to check with air going through it. So I want to make sure so you do this. Perfect. See that? And there it is. See that snap? That's what I was looking for. So that's how you clean or you check the valve right in here on an Iwata. Now let's look real quick at another. On a harder and Steenbeck, I get a lot, or you know, on any airbrush, I get a lot of this. And I'll show you. You see that? Why is the air bubbling up through my cup? This is a very easy fix, guys. You take your nozzle cap, you tighten it real good, and nothing. See that? Nothing. 9 times out of 10, your problem is right here. Just tighten this. Sometimes, you know, the threads you've been taking it off, taking it on, taking it off, taking it on so much that you might need to put a little bit of this on the threads, tighten it down. Now watch again. See that? It's loose. You got air coming through your cup. Tighten that down. You got nothing. So that's it. That's how you, two basic, common problems that I hear all the time. That's both of them right there, guys. Your air valve is sticking. Take it apart, clean it, make sure you put it all together right. Try not to over lube this, because that's what happens, as you just saw. You end up with so much of that gunked up in there that doesn't matter how many times you take this apart. If you keep adding lube in that, it's going to stick. If you got paint coming up through the cup, check right here. And it's the first thing you should check is your nozzle. Make sure it's tightened. The other problem could be either the seal here, in right back here, here the seals are going bad, or you have a bent needle. If this doesn't fix it, chances are you have a bent needle. So I'll be back in a second. So there you have it, my friends. Those are the two frequent questions I get about airbrushes. Paint coming through the cup, check your nozzles. If that doesn't work, then it's either a seal or a needle going bad. But 9 times out of 10, brothers, is something as simple as torquing that nozzle down. You got, you know, that's how you get the paint coming up through the cup, or the air coming up through the cup. Your trigger sticking. Many things can happen, but the main thing that I have found is that you've got a buildup of gunk in there, and it's not allowing that piston to move up and down. Check that, clean it, take it apart and clean it. So we'll discuss in the next one a few other things I'll get into, you know, how to check your needles, how to look at them, these bad boys right here. And, you know, a few little other things here and there, you know, your thinner to paint ratios, your PSI, etc., etc. The other thing is, you know, brothers, you don't need something like this for models. You just don't, man. I mean, and we'll discuss that in the next video. I encourage each and every one of you to become members of the Styrene Syndicate on either our GooglePlus page or our Facebook page. I'll leave all the links down below. And also, I encourage each and every one of you, if you got a Facebook page or if you're on GooglePlus, to join RedDragon's League of Extraordinary Sprue Cutters. You know, again, those links will be down below. We have hangouts, you know, we throw them up. My brother right here, Hobby Man Mike, please subscribe to his channel. He puts them up. And then our Google Plus page, the Styrene Syndicate, or Facebook page, we put the links up there. But join, you know, subscribe to the brother if you guys want to. If I don't do it, he's probably most likely going to be the one doing them. The other thing I wanted to remind everyone that PapaDan has that, and I believe it's Transition Modeler. They have that Bondi group build going. So if you have a Bondi kit, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be the Star Wars one. It could be just any Bondi kit. Please, brothers, you go see these guys here. Join and give those brothers some support. I encourage you guys to do that. The community's growing, of course. We all know that. So let's leave the drama to the queens and let's just get to the business of building models. Remember, my friends, it's not a hobby if it isn't fun, guys. It really isn't. So leave that drama to the queens, man. Build a damn model. Enjoy yourself, man. Until our next time, man, I bid you guys peace. Ciao. Later.